Next on the 5 o'clock report.
He's back in Israel and out of the clutches of Hamas.
We're not looking to hurt China. China is being hurt very badly.
Good morning, and thank you.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Cheering the news from Tel Aviv to Tenafly. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. A celebration on in Tenafly, New Jersey, hometown of an Israeli-American citizen who is free after well over a year as a Hamas hostage. Fox's Greg Palcott.
He's back in Israel and out of the clutches of Hamas. An American tasting freedom tonight. 21-year-old Edon Alexander, captive for 19 months. He is in good spirits. He is joking. He's walking with just a little bit of help.
Alexander has already spoken to his mother by phone. She led a spirited and arduous publicity campaign aimed at winning his freedom. The art of the deal. Well, it's just a first step, but the U.S. and China held weekend negotiations in Geneva, Switzerland, and that resulted in an easing of steep tariffs as trade talks continue between the two countries. President Trump.
We're not looking to hurt China. China is being hurt very badly. They were closing up factories. They were having a lot of unrest, and they were very happy to be able to do something with us.
Former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers.
I am glad as an observer of the U.S. economy that this has happened. I am more optimistic about the U.S. economy today than I was Friday evening.
And apparently he wasn't the only one. Wall Street liked what it heard, too. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained more than 1,100 points today. The S&P and the Nasdaq rose sharply as well. President Trump is headed to the Middle East now for a multi-nation visit. Before he left Washington, though, he signed an executive order designed to steeply lower the prices Americans pay for many prescription drugs. CBS medical contributor Dr. Celine Gowder questions, though, whether this is the right prescription to lower those prices.
This is an executive order. Is this enforceable? We don't know. Last time this was contested in the federal courts. This was not successful in moving forward. And in fact, the Biden administration pulled back on it, seeing that this was not going to be able to move forward.
But Dr. Mark Siegel tells Fox News.
He's heading in the right direction here. First of all, there's a swell of popular support because this is getting worse and worse. Rand Corporation said in 2024, we're paying 3 times what similar countries are paying.
Pharmaceutical companies are expected to mount a vigorous legal challenge to Trump's executive order. There were now more than 1,000 confirmed cases of measles in the U.S. since an outbreak started in Texas in January. It's only the second time there have been that many cases in 3 decades. Texas remains ground zero of the outbreak. More than 700 cases have been reported, according to the CDC, including in New York and Pennsylvania. Could be more fallout from Friday's immigration confrontation at a New Jersey ICE facility involving several Democrats, including 3 members of Congress.
The lawmakers say they were conducting an oversight visit at the ICE facility. A scuffle broke out with federal agents. DHS says the members of Congress stormed the gate of the facility while a bus of detainees was entering. An agency spokesperson accuses some of the lawmakers of body slamming at least one ICE officer. Newark's Mayor Ras Baraka was charged with trespassing for allegedly ignoring warnings to leave the property. Baraka is denying the allegations, calling his arrest targeted.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera, and there were more protests and arrests at that facility today. There's a new issue at the southern border, but this one has nothing to do with illegal immigration.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture is suspending imports of cattle, horses, and even bison from Mexico, claiming the livestock is the source of a pest insect known as the New World screwworm. The insect is a parasitic fly whose larva feeds on warm-blooded animal flesh.
That's Fox's Evan Brown. The Pope held his first news conference today.
Good morning, and thank you for this wonderful reception. They say when they clap at the beginning, it doesn't matter much. If you're still awake at the end and you still want to applaud, thank you very much.
Pope Leo XIV called for world peace, making note of conflicts raging around the globe, including in Ukraine and Gaza. Genetic testing giant 23andMe notifying customers that they may be eligible to file claims as the company files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Eligible current and former customers have until July 14th to file claims for losses incurred. The move follows a massive data breach that compromised sensitive personal information of nearly 7 million users. losers. And the NFL's defending Super Bowl champs will be kicking off the upcoming season.
The Vince Lombardi Trophy is headed to Philadelphia. Eagles fly in Super Bowl 59.
It'll be the Eagles hosting the NFC East rival Dallas Cowboys come September 4th. That Thursday night game will air on NBC. The full reveal of the NFL schedule comes on Wednesday. It includes 7 international games in Sao Paulo, Berlin, Madrid, Dublin, and a couple in London as well. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report. Hands off that cell phone in Pennsylvania while you're driving, cracking down on nuisance summertime noise, and talking school board elections with Dr. Ralph Kerr.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Beautiful start to the work week, but the beautiful weather will not be lasting too much longer. Called for tonight, beautiful start for most, moonlit skies, clouds will gather, and some overnight showers will reach areas close to Lake Erie, milder than recent nights, low temperatures 50s to near 60. Tomorrow and Wednesday, rather cloudy with a few scattered showers, maybe a clap or two of thunder in parts of Pennsylvania. High temperatures both days, mid-60s to the middle 70s.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Starting June 5th, it'll be illegal to use handheld phones while driving in PA. It's designed to combat distracted driving in the Commonwealth.
You know, we say eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. This really means it.
PennDOT's Fritzy Schreffler says right now officers will just be giving you a warning, but starting June 2026, police will start dishing out fines.
If we officers pull people over, and this will be state and local police, maybe it will make them think before they maybe try and do that again. And that's really what we want people to do, is to give it another thought about your behaviors when you're behind the wheel.
Adam Snyder's with the Governor's Highway Safety Association.
Distracted driving kills more than 3,000 people every year. There's more than 300,000 injuries.
The cell phone ban is named after Paul Miller Jr., who was killed in 2010 at the age of 21 by a distracted driver. Warm weather brings with it a lot of pleasant sounds, but some unpleasant ones too, like dirt bikes and ATVs racing around in streets where they don't belong. Several area police departments say they plan to crack down on that illegal activity. Orchard Park, New York Police Chief Patrick Fitzgerald tells Spectrum News the vehicles are hazardous and lead to crashes.
Sure as anything, that go-kart, that golf cart, that dirt bike, that four-wheeler is, unless they're incapacitated or the vehicle is undrivable, oftentimes is going to flee the scene of that crash.
Last month, the city of Rochester disposed of more than 50 illegal ATVs that they confiscated. Speaking of crashes, what a scene inside of a Southern Tier restaurant this weekend when an SUV crashed into the building and right into the dining area of the Buffet Star restaurant in Vestal. Diner Johannes Bailey survived with moderate injuries. He tells WBNG.
Everybody's screaming like a blood-curdling scream across the way. I look to my right and I'm seeing bricks flying at me.
And Bailey says the incident gave him pause and time to reflect.
It's you realize that life is short and it could be made even shorter at any moment. So we really should be thankful for every day, every breath that we have.
So true. Police are still looking into what caused that crash. The heavily damaged restaurant had just held a grand reopening following a lengthy closure. Now they're closed again. To Pennsylvania, PPL Electric releasing more details about its rate hike next month. The utility company says the generation supply price, also known as the price to compare, will increase about 15% for residential customers starting June 1st. PPL's president says rates are going up due to steep price increases by PJM last year, and PPL's encouraging customers to consider its bill assistance programs or even find a new energy supplier. Several people and groups accused of reselling tickets they got for free through a Western Pennsylvania nonprofit. We get that story from Family Life's Brian Query.
6 individuals and 2 organizations have been accused of taking tickets obtained for free through a nonprofit organization and reselling them. The organization is called Tickets for Kids, a nonprofit based in Blawnox, northeast of Pittsburgh, that works with other nonprofits to give low-income children tickets to professional sporting events and places like museums. According to criminal complaints, a confidential informant told Tickets for Kids that they were solicited by another nonprofit to obtain the free tickets to be resold by someone else. The allegations go back over 5 years. Charges include corruption, theft by deception, and dealing in proceeds of unlawful activities. Brian Query, Family Life News.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. Up next, highlights from today's Issues in Education feature as our Bob Price speaks with Dr. Ralph Kerr at the Teaching and Learning Institute, answering your questions about school budget and school board votes coming up Tuesday, May 20th in New York State.
Ralph, what are some of the qualities of an effective school board member?
Well, it was interesting when this person texted me. They were very articulate in what they were asking, and I immediately reflected that back to the person. And if you go on our website at whyrun.org, we have some personal characteristics of an outstanding board member. Mm-hmm. There's a whole list of them. I'll just mention three. And this person that I was writing with was certainly qualified in these areas. First of all, runs for the board to improve the quality of education, and then interacts with other school board members and the superintendent in a positive and constructive and helpful way. And then finally, I'd mention is motivated to serve the board solely for the purpose of maintaining and improving the educational system for all children. And she talked about that in the message that she sent to me. Yeah. So basically, it was easy to respond. She was asking, what do you think? Am I qualified? And I reflected back to her many of the things that she mentioned, and certainly was pleased to learn that she did decide to run again in her district.
Yeah, and I hope that whoever that person was wins on May 20th.
Absolutely.
I really do. We need people like that. Well, here's another great question. It has to do with school boards and the like. If I attend a school board meeting, and there are a lot of those happening right now with those budget proposals out there, this listener asks, what are some of the things I should listen for? What are some of the items that I should bring up? And before we get your answer, Ralph, I just want to ask you a question. A lot of people don't know that those school board meetings are open forums, and you are allowed to ask questions, correct?
Particularly at the budget proposal meetings, which are going on this week and next. Yeah, they're open forum, and they're actually the board's looking for questions from the audience. So I would certainly encourage people to go. I know I always go to the board presentation of the budget here in Fillmore. It's a great time. You get a lot of information, and then there is always opportunity to ask questions. And in that regard, I would just say, without getting too deep in the weeds, the tax levy maximum increase that districts can do this year is 3.23%. So you should be looking at what's the tax levy increase. If they're under that increase, then they just need a simple majority. If they are over that increase, they're going to need a 60% approval in order to go forward. But here's a couple other questions people might ask. What's the trend in our district in student enrollment? And I'm going to guess that in most cases the answer is going to be it's decreasing. And then a follow-up question might be, what's the justification then for the increase in the budget if you're actually serving less students than you have in the past?
Thank you, gentlemen. Dr. Ralph Kerr at the Teaching and Learning Institute in Houghton, New York, speaking with our Bob Price about school budget and school board votes. Those are coming up in the state of New York on Tuesday, May 20th. Hear all of our Family Life original features in podcast form at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and, of course, at familylife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
There's nothing so demoralizing as stumbling into your kitchen in the morning and being greeted by a sink full of dirty dishes. No, I'm not on a rant. Hi, I'm Rob West with another Faith and Finance Minute. I just want to draw a comparison between dirty dishes and managing money. The reason the kitchen sink gets filled with dirty dishes is that we don't clean them when the chore is manageable. Instead, we pile one dirty thing on another, telling ourselves we'll clean it up later. When later comes, the chore seems overwhelming. It's the same with managing money. The key to making it less burdensome is to keep up with it regularly. The FaithFi app can help you with that. Don't let your money management tasks pile up. Instead, keep up. You'll find that it makes managing your money so much easier. Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
All right, still to come on the 5 o'clock report, you could say they mastered the mother-son relationship.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. Beautiful start to the work week, but the beautiful weather will not be lasting too much longer. High pressure that has brought the recent sun and the current warm-up is going to forsake us for low pressure out of the Midwest. Midwest and Ohio Valley is going to bring us some showers. The call for tonight, beautiful start for most, moonlit skies, clouds will gather, and some overnight showers will reach areas close to Lake Erie, milder than recent nights, low temperatures 50s to near 60. For tomorrow and Wednesday, rather cloudy with a few scattered showers, maybe a clap or two of thunder in parts of Pennsylvania. High temperatures both days, mid-60s to the middle 70s.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. Finally at 5, a mother and son celebrated Mother's Day in a very unique way by walking across the stage Friday to accept their master's degrees from Texas Christian University. Kyle Fields got his Master's of Liberal Arts degree, and his mother, Brandy, got her Executive Master of Business Administration degree.
It's been fun to attend tailgates with him, to see him in action at his sporting events.
And her son even talked her into sporting some snazzy new matching sneakers for their walk across the graduation stage.
It was pretty fun for him to say, hey, I got us matching shoes for us to wear to our graduation ceremony. And I was like, wow, I'm not too old to wear these, but okay, if you think I can rock it, we'll try it.
And rock it they did. Her son hopes to one day use his degree and sports experience to work for a snazzy shoe maker, Nike. And that's the world we live in for Monday, May 12th, 2025. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.